First of all, Professor Chan, we're really excited about this AI for Science initiative there. Right? I understand that to prepare the initiative, you run a set of workshops, different domains on climate science, say material science, biomedical science, etc. Right? So what did you learn from this workshop that they didn't know before? Right? Anything surprise you? Anything excites you even more after interacting with this group of people?
Well, we ran, I think, about 15 workshops, and what was really surprising but encouraging were how many people turned up, right? so every workshop, I think, roughly about 100 people, sometimes 150 people turned up, so 15 workshops is quite a sizable number of people. The other very nice thing was the amount of things that was already going on in Singapore. We see applications of AI, not just in the usual areas like material science, but increasingly also in health and biosciences, in chemistry, in many other areas. So that was really nice to see. What was quite odd was that some of them had never met. So we thought it was quite nice that we were able to help convene people who are actually working in areas which could be overlapping but who had never met, and shows you how much more opportunities. And finally, there was a lot of energy. A lot of energy around ideas. And what we hope to do with these ideas is to take some of them to help inform the grants that we set up. As I said, there will be some response mode grants which will be completely open, but there may be some more thematically defined grants. But again, the RIEC, and Daniela was one of them who advised us, even for the more thematically defined ones, we should leave it open so that people can come up with innovative new ideas. We can define the theme, but we should not be overly prescriptive as to how it could be done. So through that way, we could find the right balance between getting innovative ideas, but with a collectively defined purpose. In this case, a scientifically determined focus.
Great, thank you. In this process, do you observe any tension in terms of incorporating AI into the scientific discovery process here, right? Let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, Berkeley organized a workshop, how AI can be implemented in transportation, right? So transportation professor provided the models. Some of the computer science comes in that says, I never know anything about transportation, just my model is better than yours in prediction, right? So, because this is really changing the knowledge production process here, right? Do you see this any, for example, constructive criticism from a more conventional notion of a scientific production process, or you see the two groups are really harmonized by now?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think constructive tension is what we want.
Right.
Because this is a relatively new area, and we should expect that there are going to be different views and different ways, and we ourselves are not very sure which are the best approaches. So I would say that tension is not just expected, but probably a bit desirable. But the main thing is how to make that tension constructive.
Right.
Constructive. So the kind of my model is better than yours is often not the most constructive way to. But the question is, are there ways in which we can combine and make even better models? What is it that your model tells us, and what is it that my model tells you that if we bring it together, we'll produce something much better? So I would say constructive tension. I would also say that there are some maybe implicit assumptions that we have to be careful about. For example, in terms of applications, there was recently a paper in Nature Medicine that looked at 140 radiologists that were given AI tools. And what they found, contrary to common expectation that, well, the less experienced radiologists, those without specializations, they're going to be the ones that would gain the best from the AI. Actually, the empirical data was much more heterogeneous. And radiologists were using it in different ways, and there wasn't as clear a mapping as we would have thought how the AI would have helped people. So there are many implicit assumptions that we have that, oh, well, we developed this AI tool, we tested on a few people, we put out in the sector, and then we're going to get all these gains. It might not happen that way. And therefore, we have to be very mindful of these potential traps and to constantly ask our question ourselves the question of how do we validate our assumptions, how do we validate the common sense outcomes that we think we are achieving or about to achieve. We have to have that scientific skepticism to be able to help us get more quickly to approaches that work really well. So I would say that these are things that amongst the groups meeting, I think everyone is live to these issues, but it's worth, I think, reminding ourselves regularly that it's all not just going to be a linear positive, that there are many things that we assume that may not actually play out.
You're talking about challenging the conventional wisdom, right? Or the move discussion from AI for science for education, right? You run and you ask the president for 10 years. Nowadays, almost every single university are struggling with this question there, right? There are two distinct aspects. One is how AI help people how to learn. Yeah. But the other one is how AI challenge what to learn on this, right? One is AI is a tool to facilitate the learning experience. But the second one is more difficult. What should teach our kids in the next generation? Will be more relevant on this. So what's your thinking about?
Yeah. So like a well-practiced president, I first start by not answering your question. But I think that for me, I think that in NUS, I thought that one of the most important things we could do for our students and for our faculty was for them to feel that they were able to influence the future, that they could shape the future. And particularly for students coming from a small country, they have to live, work, and learn in a campus where the future is being imagined, challenged, and created. And you do that through research. You do that through application of research that creates positive impact, advances society, improves the economy. And I think that's really important because at the end of the day, we want students with hope, the confidence, the motivation for the future, and a belief that they too can actively contribute and shape this. And to do that, they must be immersed. The education has to be integrated with the discovery and application process, the process of bringing science out to create impact. And I would say that with the introduction of AI, this ought to accelerate many aspects of this and therefore ought to speed up the opportunities for students to experience, to be part of, and to feel immersed in this, right? Because if you think about life science research experiment, it may take 10 years to validate, 20 years to go to impact, and students stay for 4 years, 3 years. But if the whole process could be accelerated through the application of AI, then I think it gives even more opportunities for students to be immersed. But coming down to your question, I would say that for many of us, we have a great interest in the N is equal to 1 education model. In other words, how would we be able to better tailor education in order for students with different inclinations, abilities, aspirations to learn in a way which is most effective for them? I think this is a difficult area. I think we are just starting. But there is potential, I think, for AI to contribute to this. I think that AI could help people who are good in some things but not so good in other things. I think certainly finding ways in which we can work with small groups of students or individuals to be able to be better in things they're not as good at, to be able to see beyond where they are, to be able to do the zoom out and the zoom in, which often is missing in many educational types of settings. Those are, I think, the potential things we could do AI. But again, we have to validate, we have to test, we have to work with students to see what works best. And finally, I would say that education is also a sociological process. It is not just a singular individual effort. I mean, there's a lot of individual effort, but a lot of learning is also social. And therefore, as we think about how AI can help individuals learn better, I think it's very important for us to also keep in mind the sociological aspects of this, so that how can we learn in groups? How can different groups doing different types of things use AI to work more effectively together? And in a way, AI might provide very powerful tools which enable the extension of those kinds of cross-disciplinary discussions and collaboration. So very thoughtful, use case and objective-driven experimentation with AI, I think, will help us to learn best how to use AI, and then we should keep a close eye on the kind of outcomes and the student experience. But I think it does offer a really exciting and new dimension, which educationists could use to great effect.
Indeed, yeah. So no significant learning can happen without significant relationship here, right? So inject confidence in the student. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.